Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the second talk in this. Not in the series, but in my series of talks to Ti-Ratana Buddhist Organization in Malaysia. In today's talk, we will be looking at Sīla. Sīla means virtue or morality, but it may have different other meanings. But in general, we take it as morality or virtue. But when you say virtue, it expands. In different contexts. But if we want to be a little bit specific, then we can say it is morality. Now, Sīla, which we see in Buddhist teachings, is neither something that was imposed by somebody. No, that is only focused on something that was actually based on the nature. In philosophy, we know that there are two types of morality, context. One is subjective morality, while the other one is objective morality. Objective morality means that there is no room for changes in terms of moral code. Let's say there is someone like XYZ, and he or she impose the moral codes, I would say laws or certain precepts, and we have to just accept regardless of what they are, and we have no room, no space for understanding what it is. We just follow what we see in the books. This is called objective morality, which is somewhat arbitrary, because um, we know things actually, I would say, the norm. But we know that if we want to look at the society and people's lives, they have been changing over time. You can't say that it is similar in terms of the time, right? So we uh, otherwise simply follow what was said by somebody, imposed by somebody long time ago. Anyway, so that's objective morality, which means we could say objective Sīla and subjective Sīla. So objective Sīla morality means that there is no room for changes, and somebody imposed the rules or laws, Sīla, and then we simply follow. But subjective morality means that we understand that the morality Sīla was imposed by humans, and they are human made, and there should be some room, some space, and it is up for changes. As we understand, time, situations, circumstances are changing. We just wanted to look at it from, I would say, from a broader, larger mindset, so that we are not sort of like confining and limiting people's freedom. Somebody might think that we are going to change the rules and precepts the way that we want. It's not like that. What I'm trying to see with subjective morality is that we are understanding that the morality has been evolving over time, and we should not hold anybody accountable in a way that they have to be taken as something that we can change. Even the Buddha himself was very open to Sīla. Remember when people brought up some of the issues to the Buddha, he simply listened to them. He was very empathetic, and he empathized the people. He empathized the folks who actually brought those issues to him. Sometimes he even changed. Sometimes he even sort of reduced the severity, or I would say the strength of the teachings. I would say that some of the monastic or other laws. That means he was very compassionate. Like when we talk about laws and all that, we have to be very compassionate. We cannot go over compassion to look at Sīla. Okay, so I was trying to let you know. In philosophy, there are two types of Sīla. We call objective morality and subjective morality. We prefer going over with what you call subjective morality, which means that we have room for discussion. We have space for understanding what it is. Otherwise, it's not good just to believe what somebody just imposed. There may be some advantages, but we would like to take it as something that can be improved, can be discussed, can be tabled to discussions. Okay, what is Buddhist Sīla? This is very important. Now, there are a lot of definitions, interpretations. Now, normally we say Kaya Vachanang Samudhanang Sīla. This could be like a commentarial definition. That means calming your actions and speech, or calming your action and speech will be, or is Sīla. Because we are leveraging and navigating our path from calming into the calming of our actions and speech into what you call samadhi, mind concentration, of calming the mind. And then once our actions, speeches, and then the mind calm, then that is the perfect room for the perspective. Look at things as they are, right? Because when the mind is cloaked, you can't see anything as it is, right? So the purpose is that Sīla is not a stand-alone practice. It is a practice that actually connects to the next level, samadhi and panya. So panya is our main perspective, yes, main aim with our practice. So anybody wants to think that I really want to practice Sīla, but keep in mind, Sīla's main objective is to take you to samadhi and then to panya, concentration and wisdom. All right, so Sīla in Buddhist teachings also means that you are very concerned and careful about intentional ethical behaviors. Now, ethics is the other word that we understand with Sīla. There are so many ethics, right? I would say economic ethics, environmental ethics, business ethics, medical ethics. So many ethics are there, in terms of different fields, right? So I think that ethics play a vital role. Let's say you use internet, Facebook, social media. Uh, regardless of whatever the things that you are using, you are sort of asked to abide by the rules, right? Because the rules actually play a bigger role, bigger thing actually. Because if we do not respect the rules, the whole situation might not go well. I'm talking about a certain context, but uh, when we discuss about disciplined life, there should be room for discussions about what we are doing as well, right? Otherwise, we simply follow what somebody or someone, probably a sacred thing, has only said. We respect, but there should be room for that thing too. Because in Buddhism, the most important thing that we need to enjoy is the freedom, mental freedom. If Nibbana is the highest mental freedom, then we should have some sort of freedom even to practice it. If somebody says, hey, you have to do this, that, this, and we are sort of like, uh, stuck and then stagnated in our own mental, uh, you know, situations, lives. So I always encourage anybody to think that if you really want to follow Buddhism, always seek for your mental freedom, because mental freedom is what takes you to the highest mental freedom, nibbana, at a certain point. If you are not mentally free, that means you are not even actually tapping onto the path of the Buddha. So Sīla not only represent the action. Now, Sīla, you could see uh, actions and speech fundamentally, but Sīla does not only mean an action or a simple action or speech. Sīla means, in a larger, broader context, intentional, ethical uh, behaviors. So there should be intention involved. I would probably say volition involved. It's intention somehow. I mean, the both involved, because if you look at karma, then definitely there is chetana, volition. If you look at samma sankappa, uh, that means right intention. There is intention involved. So the both make up uh, the most of the vipaka side of our activities. Now, the the other very important thing when we talk about Sīla is the preparation of our intentions and volition for a certain activity, right? So you could take care of yourself from the negative side of five precepts, but initially, but the two triggers, the two main reminders that always keep us to the practice, to the Sīla, are Hiri and Ottappa. Hiri means a moral shame, while Ottappa means moral fear. I mean, this is the basis of our Sīla. I mean, when you have moral, what do you call, shame, then you take a step back and you think about, should I do this? Should I go over with this? Should I continue this particular activity? Let's say the activity is something that motivates you to do something not good, but your moral shame, which you have been developing for a long time, you get to think that, okay, I should not do this particular activity because I'm very shy. I'm very shy to do this bad activity, speech. So that sort of helps you to practice your Sīla, right? Not just that, okay, I should not break the precept because you have moral shame. On the other hand, moral fear, because you know that there are I would say circumstances where you have to think about, always look at the you know uh, what do you call dangers of the particular activity, this life and next life. Some of the things that are really peculiar say to us that there are punishments in the sense of law, and there are things that also take you to terrible rebirths, right? So Hiri and Ottappa, probably there is something that you will be scorned and then I would say criticized by the wise people, right? Because in Metta Sutta we understand that it is said, Nacha kuddang samachare kinchiyena vinyo pare bodhiyo. Never ever make anything that is scorned by the vinyos, wise people. That means you are not going to, what do you call, do anything wrong that is actually despised, criticized by the good individuals, noble friends, kalyana mitras, or panditas, sappurisas. So Hiri and Ottappa play a vital role in keeping us to our Sīla practice. So it is very important then to keep Hiri and Ottappa. So if somebody asks me what is this practice of Hiri and Ottappa, we call it Deva Dharma, which means what we call the noble nature of deity, Deva, right? So the important thing to understand with Hiri Ottappa is that rather than going to practice precepts directly, If you have this mentality, attitude that hey, I have to keep myself to hidden or tattva, that means they are good reminders for us not to practice sila in a wrong way, or probably break the precepts, right? So if you carry your mentality with hiri and not tattva, it's very good. That means you have moral shame and you have moral fear. For those folks who don't have these two, we call them, what they have is uh, ahirika and anottappa. This is something given in Abhidhamma also. Ahirika means lack of moral shame, and anottappa means lack of moral fear. So these are really, uh, I would say, terrible, and then also very, uh, you know, leading to harm to yourself and to others. Hiri and Ottap. And also, let's take a look at of the Sila's fundamental context. Now, where do we find Sila with our path? It is said in the Noble Eightfold Path, Arya Attangika Magga, that the whole Arya Attangika Magga is given in the context of what you call Sila Samadhi Panya. Because there's a question somebody asked in one of the suttas. I remember this sutta could be um, Chula Vedala Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, I guess. In the sutta, it is asked by someone, probably if this was the Chula Vedala Sutta, then definitely it was asked by Visakha, former husband of Bhikkhuni Dhammadina. Is the Eightfold Noble Path included in the three aggregates called Sila Samadhi Panya? Or Sila Samadhi Panya, are the Sila Samadhi Panya, virtues aggregates included in the Eightfold Noble Path? Bhikkhuni Dhammadina says it is the Eightfold Noble Path is included in the Sila Samadhi Panya practice. That means even the Noble Eightfold Path is given in the context of Sila Samadhi Panya. That means without Sila Samadhi Panya, there is no Noble Eightfold Path. Then what is more important? Sila Samadhi Panya. Because when you look at Sammaditthi, right way, Samma Sankappa, right intention, Samma Vacha, right speech, Samma Kammanta, right action, Samma Ajiva, right living, Samma Vayama, right effort, Samma Sati, right mindfulness, Samma Samadhi, right concentration, Samma Jnana, right knowledge. These are two additional components to the Eightfold Noble Path, become 10 for an Arahant. Samma Vimutti, right release. Right? Now, you particularly understand that Sila Samadhi Panya are the ones that give weight to the Noble Eightfold Path. How does it happen? It is said that Samma Ditti and Samma Sankappa, that means what you call right view and right intention, they are governed by the Panya. That means if you practice right view and right intention, that means you are practicing Panya, wisdom. And if you practice Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, that means right speech, right action, right living, then you practice Sila. So now, as I said earlier, right view and right intention, they are taken as Panya, wisdom. And right speech, right action, right living, they are taken as, those two are taken as Sila. And the rest should be Samadhi, right? That means Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Right, what you call effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. They are called as Samma Samadhi. So now what we have to understand here is Sila part of the Noble Eightfold Path is very important because Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, these three factors, path factors, also make up the Sila. That means if we really want to practice Sīla, we have to look at Sīla from a larger, broader perspective. That means we have to look at our speech, Samma Vacha. We have to, purify our speech. And Samma Kammanta means we have to purify our actions. And Samma Ajiva means we have to purify our living. I mean, living means how we live in our life. So these three actually make up uh, three most important aspects of our life. So for those folks who only think that Sīla is simply the what you call the precepts, now you have an answer. You have something to think about, to ponder over. That Sīla is a bigger concept in Buddhism. Now keep that in mind. That the what you call the Sīla in the higher teachings of the Buddha refers to Samma Vacha Kammanta Ajiva. Now let's also take a look at the five precepts, the fundamental nature of our Sīla. Now, as you know, the five precepts were not innovated by the Buddha. It was existed even before the Buddha. If you take the Jains, other folks before the Buddha's time, and they've been practicing the five precepts, not taking lives, Panatipata Viramani, and not taking what's not given, Adinadana Viramani, Kamesumikchachara, not misbehaving. Pretty much it's about sexual misconduct. And then what you call Musavada Viramani, that means not lying. And then Suramere Machamadatana Viramani, which means that you are not taking any beverage or food that will sort of block your right mind to make decisions about such things, other decisions. So, looking at these five, they seem to be pretty much fundamental, global, ethical things. But you see in other religions and pretty much in every country, killing, stealing, misbehaving, lying, taking such drinks and food so that your mind is get clogged. They are initially frowned upon. There's no question about it. That is why the Buddha's Sīla, even in Buddha, approved the five precepts as a starter, but the Buddha's real Sīla uh, goes to an extent where we talk about the Sīla of the Noble Eightfold Path. That means Samma Vacha, right speech, Samma Kammanta, right action, and Samma Ajiva, right living. So it's kind of a very broader. The real Buddhist, true Buddhist Sīla is something that is really beyond five precepts. But let's talk about five precepts initially because it is very interesting to talk about it. Now, as you know, before every religious activity, be that a Dhamma talk or a puja, or blessing or whatever, the monk is normally administer you or give precepts to you. You just put your hands together, you take precepts. But what is the important meaning behind this practice? Even before a meditation, this happens, in many places, right? Because it is believed that without the verbal and physical purification, not, the mind has a hard time. Mind will have a hard time in in terms of purification because we have to purify our actions, our speech first, right? Then only we can look at our mind. If you are not looking at your what you call actions and then the speech, you are not able to purify or look at your mind. That's the most important thing. Now, if you take a look at of the first precept, Panatipata Veramani, what do you actually develop with that particular precept? Now, when you are not taking other people's lives, that means you develop compassion, right? Now, compassion, I think in today's world, uh, people are very much intelligent. I mean, more than the people who lived many centuries ago. People who are living in the 21st century, they are more intelligent in terms of what their predecessors, earlier folks, had over. So compassion is something that we see is always having a hard time in this 21st century. I mean, I'm not saying that they are not compassionate, many of us, we are, but we have to develop it, because as time goes by, it is very normal for people to crave for things. It's very normal for people to be very selfish, because not everybody can, you know, aspire to be so and so. So we need to develop compassion for every being, right? Now, if you look at the society, uh, there are people who we see in our different perspectives very differently. They are not, I mean, holding our views. They have their different views. They have their different ideas, their visions, their missions, right? But as human beings, we should be able to be compassionate to all these folks. Uh, there may be some implications to our practice, just because we, don't understand what they are doing, or what they believe. We might think that we should not respect them, even the animals, right? So when you say Panatipata Veramani, it includes all the beings. So we need to develop compassion towards all of them. So compassion does not arise all of a sudden. It arises from empathy, actually sympathy, because this is how it works: sympathy, empathy, compassion. Kindness is the active behavior of your compassion. For example, whenever you understand that you need to be compassionate towards others, that is called sympathy. But empathy means uh, you try to put yourself in other people's shoes. That means you wanted to feel the pain of other people. Probably you might not be able to help them out very much, but you simply want to feel the sort of you know mental trauma that the other people are having, in different sense, mental and physical trauma. So that is empathy. As we know that we are not able to uh, spread our compassion in terms of actions at all times, so that we might think that we can't do anything, but there is still things that we can do. you know One of the things that empathy, that means we can feel the pain of other people, we can feel the situation of other people. That is called empathy. But if you are someone who can understand, as well as who wanted to really help, uh, money wise or action wise, there is your chance to work on. That is called compassion, right? So this is the particular quality that the Buddha had every morning. It is said that every morning he uses his great compassion, Mahakaruna, in order to help somebody, right? So every morning he wanted to look at somebody who's special, who might die today, who might, uh, you know, uh, I would say, have no help from other folks. So he wanted to go and help such individuals, right? So this is something we already know. So more than his wisdom, he always used compassion. I mean, wisdom is what he attained, but through that wisdom, he was always compassionate. This is very interesting, because for all of us, uh, we sometimes might not think about compassion that much. We already, and we always think about wisdom and intelligence and knowledge, right? How much knowledge we have, how much Dhamma knowledge we have. This is our main concern. So we need compassion. That is what we do by practicing the first precept. Second is, develop uh, thoughts of non-attachment. Now, why we want to do steal other people's stuff, take what's ungiven? It is because we are so much greedy. So greed is attached to the second precept, right? Adinadana Viramani. So if you understand, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have children, you have this and that, that means you, uh, develop your thoughts of what you call non-attachment. When it comes to Kamesamichachara, that means a huge sexual responsibility. Buddhism does not oppose to sexuality. It has to be there, but you should not, engage in sexual misconduct, engage in sexual conduct, right? So, and there are two things. Sexual commitment and sexual responsibility and long-term commitment to your partner. That's really love. Love. There's no harm because you need love, right? Because that love refreshes you on a daily basis in the long run, right? And then when it comes to Musavada Veramani, what you do is that you are spreading the truthfulness, spreading truth, right? Suramere Majjapamadatana Veramani, that you are showing that you develop a huge understanding about what's going on around and beyond you, right? Because you make very conscious decisions and you are not making poor choices. There are a lot of people who are making bad choices because they are intoxicated, right? When you are intoxicated, you are actually making bad choices. That is not a good thing, right? Okay, so this is one aspect of the Sīla. Five precepts, and as I said, that the Buddhist precepts or morality Sīla goes to the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path, which has Samavacha, Kammata, Ajiva to be the Sīla. Now let's take a look at what they are, and then we'll see the what you call the deeper meaning of Sīla in the Buddhist practice. Samma Vacha. Now, Samma Vacha means right speech. Now, right speech means that we have four, bad speeches which we have to, uh, overcome on a daily basis. Not lying, Musavada Viramani. This is not some parts of the right speech we can see in the five precepts, but this is more elaborated in the Samavacha and Noble Eightfold Path. So, Musavada Viramani simply means not telling lies, means you are truthful. Visunavacha Viramani means you're not, talking behind the back, or probably you are uh, always trying to unite other people with your speech. And Parusavacha Viramani means that you are not using hurtful words, speeches, hate speech. And Sampappalapa Viramani means you are not gossiping or idle chatting. Now let's look at them a little bit deeper. Musavada Viramani is, of course, very clear that asks us to, recommends us to not to lie. But as I said earlier, with regard to the subjective morality, we have to understand the context. We are not supposed to lie because, let's say, you are in a relationship, you are in a society, you are not supposed to lie to anybody. But there may be some occasions, circumstances where you may have to, uh, you know, uh, I would say, act according to the time. Let's say somebody asks you, am I handsome? Am I pretty? Nobody wants to say you are ugly. You are not that good, right? Just because you want to tell the truth, you are not saying like that. Because you might probably say, you are good, you're handsome, you're pretty, right? Because you don't want to, you know, make the other person feel bad about themselves, right? You're so compassionate towards them, right? So this might be a lie, probably it is not the handsome thing or pretty thing that you see in your own eyes, but you simply wanted to say you don't want to hurt other people, right? Probably this might be the parusa vacha veramani. You are not going to hurt other people, but it may be a lie in a sense. But it is the intention. It is your volition. Your volition is something that you are making uh, to make the other person happy in a better way. I mean, if you are lying to someone just because you want to do something bad, you want that person to do bad. That's pretty bad, very terrible, very. I mean, uh, you know, uh, I would say dangerous in terms of the practice. Musavada Vedamani. So then, what do you call? Musavada Pisunavacha Vedamani. Now, Pisunavacha Vedamani is something very important because there are people who always want to divide other people. They don't like other people's lives, friendships, marriages. They want to break them, even at workplace situations, other places. So that's why you have to always think before you talk. Always think before you talk, right? Because whatever the things you talk to other people might break their relationships, might break them apart. You always try to use words to unite them together, combine them together, to help them peacefully exist, to help them peacefully continue their work, right? To help them peacefully, graciously have their relationship. That is the nature of a good person. How that good person, uses his or her own words. But there are people who does not respect this thing. Just want to say whatever they feel, and then what happens? Uh, Other people getting very mad. Probably they can actually break apart too. It's not good. And this is Pisunavacha Veramani. And then Parusavacha Veramani, as I said earlier, that means you are not using any hurtful words. Now the hurt can come in different formats. Culturally sensitive things, probably your personal things, probably other bunch of things. So whenever you talk to anybody in your culture or in foreign other cultures, always keep in mind that is this something that is going to be good for the person that I'm talking to. You're respecting the other person because you always think that this is something that should be good to the other person. Not just saying that, oh, this is my culture, you gotta understand what I wanna say. That's no good. Respecting cultures, religions, and all that. Even your family member, let's say your husband, your wife, your children, teachers, other folks, you have to understand how better you need to talk to them, right? So you develop your speech in terms of what you call, you know, uh, good speech through the samma, what you call, parusavacha context. You are not using harsh, coarse, bad words. That you are using very comfortable, pleasing, pleasant, good words to other people. Even animals wanted to hear. Even animals want to get, heard, get called in uh, comfortable words because they also wanted to hear compassion through words. And what do you call sampapalapa means that you are not gossiping, you are not wasting your time, precious time, because we all have precious time. We don't want to actually waste our time. You are not wasting your time, and you are not you know using your time for unnecessary conversations, right? There are people who gossip and who idle chat. What is gossiping? Buddha says that we should mind our actions, our speeches, our thoughts, not about what other people think. Uh, you know, because we need to mind about other people, but not in the way to gossip. Let's say somebody wants to, you know, uh, wants to seek a help from you, and you're going to help that person, but not in a way that you're going to interrupt. You're going to be very much concerned about their personal life, right? If you think that somebody needs your help, you can mind about it. But if not, you don't need to go and make a big deal over there, right? So if you are somebody like that, you are not concerned about what other people do. You only mind about you. If you mind about you, you are at least developing in your practice. One of the very uh, downfalls that we see, very much downfalls that we see in many people's practices, that they they are not mindful about what they are doing, and they are more mindful about what other people do. So you are wasting your time. You are wasting your precious time to look at or fine tune your practice. If somebody needs help, please go help, but do not spend unnecessary time for other people's unnecessary things. Okay? Idle chatting is also the same thing. There are folks who just want to converse and talk, wasting their time. Now, this is the uh, first part of the Sīla in the Noble Eightfold Path. We call it Samma Vaca. Samma Kammanta means right action. Same three precepts that we saw in the five precepts. What they call Panatipata Veramani, Adinadana Veramani, and Kamisamichachara Veramani. And then what is Samma Ajiva? Now, this is very important too. Samma Ajiva means that you are not having kuhana, lapana, nemitikata, nippesikata, labina laba nijins. It's a kind of a widespread context of living. If you are somebody who earns money by being a hypocrite, having hypocrisy. I actually gave a talk last night about hypocrisy. You can watch that too on Parisota. You should not be a hypocritic person. That means you should not have double standards when you act. Lapana means you should not be flattering just to get money. This is what we see in the marketing industry all the time, right? People flatter, changing, altering the reality. I mean, there are maybe good people too. Nemitikata means you should not use science to gain money. Nippesikata means you should not blame, criticize other people to get money. Labena laba nijiginsata, you should not use profits to uh, gain more profits in a bad way from somebody, you know. So in this context, we understand Sīla not only is something about five precept, it is something that is larger, broader, deeper. That is why it includes what you call Samma Vaca, right speech, Samma Kammanta, right action, and Samma what you call Ajiva, right living. Now, I understand that you gained a clear understanding about what Sīla in terms of five precepts and the Noble Eightfold Path. We also need to look at Sīla in terms of other contexts. Now, if you are somebody who took precepts, especially on a full moon day, you may have received the eight precepts, right? These eight precepts seem to be a little different from the five precepts. We have this something called Abrahmacharya Veramani. You are not even thinking about sexual conduct. You're going to be celibate. And then Mikala Bhojana Veramani. You are not even taking meals after midday. And then Nacha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasana Mala Ganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanattana Veramani. You are not up for dancing, singing, Nacha Gita Vadita, playing musical instruments, Visuka Dasana. You are not making jokes, cracking jokes. Mala Ganda Vilepana. You are not holding, bearing any beautifying things, necklaces, garlands, so on and so forth. Uh, and this is another precept. I mean, I'm looking at it from a perspective that you are trying to practice minimalism, trying to be a minimalist, because we sometimes think that we really want to wear all these stuff. We cannot live without cracking jokes, right? We cannot live without playing, singing, all that. But there is a time for you to take a moment of silence. I mean, this is something that we always practice in a silent retreat. I mean, people need some, um, silence. We would call it. We people need to slow down sometimes. Because when you slow down, you will understand that how much happiness you can enjoy. You're going to look at what's really going on. I mean, naturally, right? So, 8 precepts. So, and Uchasana Mahasana, you are trying to practice, your precepts in a way that you are not using, uh, luxurious and those kind of seeds and such things, right? So, this is another perspective to the 5 precepts. People can take these 8 precepts on a full moon poetic. And in addition to the main aspect of Sila, we talked about Kiriyotapa, that is what moral shame and moral fear, which uh, help us to practice Sila. And we talked about the first category of Sila, the main important crux of the Sila Samadhi Panya. And then we said that Sila is the starting point that helps us to get into Samadhi, concentration. And Samadhi has to, we had to go beyond Samadhi, that is Panya, right? And we also talked about how does Sila play in the Noble Eightfold Path. In addition to all this, we also need to talk about how we can develop Sila on a daily basis. I mean, I know that you all practice Sila in your own ways, but let's look at how we can develop it. Now, one of the very important things to develop Sila is to continue your, uh, willingness, attention, giving attention to Hiriyanottam, moral shameness, and then moral fear, or moral shame, or moral fear. Now, these are very important. These two are very important because this is why you wanted to keep your Sila. And also to be surrounded with Kalyana Mittas. So, association plays a bigger role. Let's say you are someone who does not care about the people you associate. We always wanted to say that you need to say hi and bye. You should not isolate anybody. But it doesn't mean that you should associate everyone in an intimate way, because there are less kalyana mittas and more papa mittas, less noble friends and more evil friends who influence you bad, in a wrong way, in a way that you squanders your life, waste your life, right? So if you are someone who can be surrounded by what you call noble friends, that is a good motivation for you to practice Sila. So I always encourage this when we talk about any virtue, but in terms of Sila, I think that is very important. Let's say you are with somebody who is always having thoughts to kill other beings. Let's say who is always developing thoughts to destroy other people. Then you will get influenced too, right? Over time, let's say you spend 6 7 months, couple years, then even though you are not bad, your friends influence may influence you automatically. That's not a good thing. Let's say you are surrounded with a noble friend, even one noble friend, and you are listening to the noble friend. Then that the company and the association with that person in the long run will help you really well. Now, in one of the suttas, Buddha said we should have two kalyana mittas, right? And he also said that we all have one kalyana mitta. So don't worry, we have one kalyana mitta already to all of us. The Buddha said that's him. So we all have the Buddha. Because of the Buddha, we listen to Dhamma, we practice, we study, we explore, we navigate, we attain Nibbana one day possible. So he is the best noble friend. He's the highest noble friend. But He is not with us physically at this moment, right? So then we need to find another living, active friend. Not be very on a par with the Buddha, but at least to encourage us. That means when you are going to marry or fall in love with someone, find out a kalyana mitra, right? I mean, I'm not saying somebody who is really intense in his practice or her practice. I mean, somebody who can really help you grow better as a good person. Then, for the rest of the time you are spending with him or her, right? Or if you are joining a company, if possible, you see that the nature of the company. If you are joining a temple, local temple, you are looking at who the people that you wanted to be with, right? So you look at friendship, noble friendship, as the foundation of your Sīla, because although you may be a good person, but if you tend to associate evil friends, papa mittas, you will end up with a lot of hassles, a lot of problems that you never expected. So kalyana mittas are very important. So the Buddha said we all should have at least two kalyana mittas. I think two are enough. One is the Buddha. We all have that Buddha, and the other one is somebody we have to find out. If your wife is gonna be a kalyana mitta, husband gonna be a kalyana mitta, that's way better, because you know that she cares you very much. She cares your life. She cares your well-being, right? So that's very important for us, all of us, to understand the importance of noble friends. So in addition to the hiriyottappa, kalyana mittata, noble friendships, matters you the most in practicing sila. Now there are people who really know these things, but they are not able to practice sila. The reason is they are with papa mittas. So these papa mittas always say, hey, we don't care about killing, stealing, misbehaving, lying, intoxicants. Yeah, they don't care about it. Just do it. Who cares, right? Because you need to be surrounded with noble friends. So what about the other ethics in the world? Now, if you take a look at medical ethics, there are ethics too. Now, there are some issues as well. Now, euthanasia, honor killing, these are some of the issues. Abortion, right? In Buddhism, we say that life starts from the conception, right? That means even starting from an embryo, fetus. But in the modern ethics, we have to look at it differently. Let's say there is somebody who is raped by somebody else and getting pregnant, and it's her body, right? So she should be able to decide on what she's going to do, and you can't say this abortion, you should not, or you should. We're going to be very neutral, but giving her to make the choice. That means there are situations that is why I was trying to tell you, we have to look at Sila from a subjective morality point, not an objective morality. Somebody said long time ago we cannot change. That's not good, right? Because we always have to look at Sila from a very compassionate, very open-minded perspective. Because we don't want to limit somebody's freedom. We don't want to confine somebody's freedom. We are talking Sila in a way to give full freedom to someone to practice good things. Not saying you do the bad thing, you have to get it up, you have to be punished, right? Even we talk about euthanasia and what do you call abortion. We have to look at these two sometimes in different ways. Probably, I mean, when there is an apparent rape and when the girl is pregnant, I mean, she should be able to decide on that, right? Because it shouldn't have happened. On the other hand, if you take a look at what do you call euthanasia, I mean, if somebody is very painful, he should be able to make decision for her, right? So in this context, medical ethics can be taken in different formats. Like even the truth telling attitude. Sometimes when a patient gets diagnosed with something like a cancer, we know how to tell the truth to the patient. We are having some ethics. lot of, even if you take a look at a business, environment, and economy, there are ethics. Ethics are not, focus on one particular aspect. They are all over. So we have to respect the ethics. At the same time, look at the ethics in Buddhism. We call them Sīla, in a more, you know uh, what do you call, free, liberating, open-minded, facilitating, compassionate perspective, not in an authoritative, arbitrary, what do you call, uh, rigorous, rough perspective. That's not going to actually work for you. Okay, I think you learned today about Sīla, morality in Buddhist context. We talked about Sīla plays a vital role, not because Sīla is the ending place, Sīla is the starting point, has to go beyond. We have to pass Sīla to attain Samadhi and then Panya. And also, we talked about Hiriya Notap and other important aspects. So you can uh, watch this talk one more time, couple times, to see what I've been talking in different senses. So now it's time to transfer good karmas to uh, departed relatives and the devas. Let's do that. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating in all these ways be transferred to all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of you. If the departed relatives were born in a bad place of realm, may they be able to transition into a better place. If they were already reborn in a better place, may they be able to improve their standards and may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. May all the good karmas be shared by all the devas, nagas, and Mahitikas. May they protect all of you who are watching this talk, who are not watching this talk, everybody, even the monks, Nayaka Hamgurus, chief monk of the Ti-Ratana Center, and other monks. I think, but everybody who are watching this one. May they all be protected, blessed by the deities. May they bless all of them, all of us, good health, quality of life, and safety, peace, and all the good things. May be one more time blessed by them. May the Devas, Nagas, and the Mahitikas also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampradang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha cha bhummattha Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkang Tuloka Sasranaka Sattha Chibumatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkang Tudesanang Aka Sattha Chibumatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkang Tumang Paranti. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe devan modantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating in all these ways be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to be blessing you with a couple more stanzas. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana Sīlis Nichang Baddha Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddhanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminati Samikshato Sadhu Sadhu. Have a good night and take care.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for the talk. For those of you who are watching this tonight, I couldn't give an introduction because I just finished my class. I was having my dinner. So sorry. Anyway, hope everybody had a wonderful Dhamma talk, heard the Dhamma well, and have a good night. And thank you all for watching.